Chris Hemsworth, Kate Blanchett, Heath Ledger, Rebel Wilson. What do they all have in common? They're all famous people, yes, absolutely. All famous actors and actresses, absolutely. But they are also all from Australia. That's right, the Down Under has given us some of the best actors and performers in the world. A couple to name off the top of my head: Hugh Jackman, the performer in The Greatest Showman, who's also Wolverine in the X-Men movies, has also done a lot of Broadway stuff. Just an absolute treasure of a performer. Kate Blanchett, a legendary actress, has been around for decades and decades and decades. She was in the Lord of the Rings movies. She was played Queen Elizabeth in an Oscar-nominated performance. We have Heath Ledger, who was in a lot of different movies, more in the 90s. He's probably most recognized now for his last performance. He was taken from us too soon as the Joker in The Dark Knight. He won an Academy Award for it. Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, and his brother Liam Hemsworth. Rebel Wilson, who is famous for the Pitch Perfect movies. Nicole Kidman, who was in Aquaman and did a bunch of movies in the 90s, has been around forever. In the music industry, the band AC/DC is from Australia, pretty famously. So a lot of famous performers have come from Australia. Now, you might be asking yourself, how did they get famous? How did they become famous actors? Well, if you want to be an actor and you want to make it big, the first thing you have to understand is it's a hard business. And 99.99999% of the actors who go into it to try to be famous never make it, because it's very hard. If you have 5 spots and 1,000 people want those 5 spots, only 5 people are still getting those spots. The 995 are still, they're out of luck, right? So if you ever decided to do any sort of performing professionally, do it because you love it. Do it because it's something that speaks to you and you have a passion for performing. That's the best advice I can give you on that, truly and honestly. But how do you do it? So first thing you got to do is you have to do what's called an audition. An audition's like a tryout. So what you do is there are several different kinds. You basically go in front of a bunch of people who make decisions about television or movies or plays or whatever it is you're trying out for. And they'll either have you read from a script, or they will have you do what's called a monologue, which is a speech that you perform on your own from a play, movie, or TV show. Now, it's important to realize a couple things about this, okay? There are certain things that you can control in an audition, and there are certain things you cannot. Can you control whether or not the director and the people in the room decide to cast you? Unfortunately, no. You can't control that. You could give a terrible performance and still get cast in a part in a play. I've seen it happen. You can give the best performance in the world and still not get cast. Maybe they had somebody else in mind for the part already. Maybe it was lunchtime and they were hungry and they weren't really paying attention to you. There's a lot, and I don't tell you that to scare you, that's just the reality of it. So you always have to be careful about that kind of stuff, as far as knowing what you can control and knowing what you can't. But what you can control is this. You can control your behavior. So in Hollywood or New York or anywhere in the world where you're wanting to perform, people want to work with people who are professional. So you're going to want to dress nice. You're going to want to be kind to everyone. You're going to want to come in, introduce yourself. It's called the slate. You're going to want to introduce yourself, say your name. Hi, my name is Chad Ownby. And what you'll be auditioning for. And you'll always want to say thank you at the very end. You'll also want to be prepared. If you're doing a speech or a monologue, as we called it earlier, you're going to want to practice, 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 and be ready to go. Because if you're not, it's going to look kind of silly, right? If you don't know what you're doing because you didn't practice. So you really should try to practice ahead of time. You can control that. So you can go in being well dressed, being prepared, and being polite. So if you do all three of those things, you have a much better chance of getting cast in a play, right? You can, if you have the opportunity to sign up for a part, or not a part, if you have the opportunity to sign up for an audition and you're signing up for time slots, you want to sign up to go either first or last. And the reason for that is because if you sign up in the middle, they've already seen a bunch of people before you, and they're going to see a bunch of people after you. That's when the whole, man, I just want to get out of here thing comes into play. If you go first, you're the first thing, and they're, fresh in their minds. If you go last, it's the last thing they might remember. So if you have the opportunity to do that, I recommend that. So what I want you to do for me, and I would love to see it, is it would be really cool if you did some sort of talent, whether it's singing, dancing, acting. Remember those characters I had you do yesterday? You could have that character do a pretend audition for something. So you would basically go in and you would audition. You would have your parents be the judges. So you would come in and you would do whatever it is you choose to do. And your parents will tell you how wonderful you did, hopefully, which I'm sure because you're all so great and are going to do a great job. And you do like a little mock audition. Now, the point of this is not to show everyone how talented you are, which is, of course, true. It's also to show you kind of what that experience is like, performing in front of people, which can be incredibly nerve-wracking and scary, but it can also be so wonderful, because that's really why we do what we do. Even if it's just, a performance for your family or an audition, when you get up on stage and perform for people, it's the greatest thing in the world, because you have made a connection with that person, with that audience. You have performed for them. You have provided that service for them. And you have created art for them. And you also, for those of you that are shy, you got up on that stage, wherever it is, and you performed. You did it. You overcame your fear. You overcame your anxiety. You got up and you spoke in front of people, and you did it successfully. And no matter what happens for the rest of your life, nobody and nothing can ever take that away from you. Every job interview, every project you have to do for school, every presentation will be easier because you did theater, because you did acting. So I would love, like I said, highly recommend and would love to see your little auditions. Another fun thing you could do, if you have toys, line up your toys and film yourself, doing a little audition where you do some sort of performance, and they're your pretend judges. That could be kind of fun, right? I look forward to seeing what you guys do. I've really enjoyed doing these videos for you. Again, continue to shine like the stars that you are, and I will see you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.